Welcome back to the LCS Challengers League, and we are here yet again for our culmination of the day. We have tied up our series 1-1 between Mirage Alliance and LiT Esports. I'm Mazel. I'm joined by Beatdown Boulevard, likely candidates yet again, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with this last one because we haven't gotten a full 3 games yet. Fearless comes into huge effect when we get into a third game because we've had 2 games of bans that are no longer going to be available, and I expect that to be a big highlight coming into this one here for sure.
100%. I mean, let's take a look at the banned champs that are no longer available for both of these teams, because now we're looking at 10 champs apiece on top of the 5 bans that you're going to face in this third game. It's quite a few champions that are out of the picture. You know, we're seeing a couple repeats. Azir, shocking to nobody. Varus, shocking to nobody. And we got a couple spicy ones too.
Yeah, I mean, the Tahm Kench not going to be available this time around for LiT.
Yep.
I think maybe going away from that composition a little bit might be a good thing. So Mirage Alliance just having a serious strength through Alorm in the top side on the Udyr. Not as much of that in game number 1 for Mirage Alliance, but they did take the Senna, so now they are unfortunately denied that combo with anything. They weren't able to get the Tahm Kench, so
yeah,
bot lane does become a little interesting now, especially for Mirage Alliance, when you do need to rely on maybe some of these 3, 4, 5th tier picks, right?
Right, because again, maybe we start seeing Jhin come through. LiT haven't played Ezreal. And I mean, Kalista. Yeah, maybe we see Jhin, you know? I know that gets you excited, Lennon. That could be a really fun one. There are still a couple of options, though, of course, for AD carry. It just depends on whether or not things like Kalista end up being banned. They usually are perma. So far, at least these last 2 patches. So that's kind of what I'm keeping my eye out on. Mid lane, I mean, there's still plenty of picks. There's plenty of picks.
Yeah. I think, curiously enough for me, this game is going to come down to jungle. I think we've seen some really strong, aggressive performances from both Will and Kisno. Will having a lot of really good angles last game, especially on the Poppy. I'm very curious now to see how that matchup works out because, to me, we've had some incredibly scrappy games here beat down between these two. It feels like, especially that game 1, it was literally back and forth over and over again. And this game 2 a little bit less so. So trying to find that stability from the side of LiT and find a composition that can go up to snuff and not fall behind super early.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because with jungle, I mean, right now, I think this is where you start to see like a little bit of a difference being made here with Fearless Draft. But I think in best of 5s is where we'll see like that really big effect come through. Because right now, I mean, we talk about jungle. LiT have a couple of options available to them. I mean, Will hasn't played Xin Zhao yet. Kisno hasn't played Fi. So I'm wondering if we see those things targeted maybe just to force players on maybe, you know, A tier, B tier instead of what we kind of consider the S tier at the moment.
I'm actually seeing an angle here from Mirage Alliance. There's a big combo that they have not grabbed. It is the Maokai Jace combo that is still available. Still there for them, and Maokai, a big pick in the meta right now. Could that be the answer is the big question. I do believe I see that we have draft getting ready to go, so I want to get your thoughts about how we could see that maybe pulled off from Mirage Alliance and what kind of more stable comp you want to see from LiT Esports.
Yeah, I think if you're looking for a Jace Maokai, we haven't seen quite a lot of that lately. I think Jace has fallen out of favor, but I think last series was the perfect example where if you see an Akali blind or something, I think that would actually be a really nice mid-jungle for you to have. So that's a tough matchup for her. Jace blind, not really feeling it right now, even with some of the champions that are taken off the table in the mid lane. So, yeah, with that in mind, I think LiT, with their last comp, they had the right idea. I liked overall what their draft was going for, but I guess Dragoon fell a little bit too far behind, and because he lacked MR early on, Mirage's team comp honestly did a lot of magic damage, so I think that early Heartsteel ended up punishing him big time.
Yeah, didn't get the stacks he necessarily wanted. Well, we're into draft number 3. We have LiT Esports on the blue side for the first time here in this series. Mirage Alliance on that red side. We'll see what those bans end up being, but again, you got to think there's a lot already taken off the table. The looks for me for LiT Esports was the Maokai and seeing a pair with that of some sort. We'll see if we get a spice in game 3 of this one.
Right. I mean, I have a feeling the first rotation bans are going to be the same, like it's probably going to be like Seraphine taking away Karma, I think Mirage are going to be the ones who have to ban Karma because I think if I'm Lit, especially at this point in time, I think you just leave it up and force them to ban it. And if they don't want to ban it, guess what? You have a great support. Good for you.
Maybe everything is banned. Yeah, that's what that is. That's what that means. We're waiting for the draft to kick off here for sure.
Any second
but any second now. Let's see what the first pick's gonna be. Because I do particularly think that if you can grab, like, say, the Azir not being available, meaning that mid lane gets a little bit more bare bones picking, where we've seen Messages and RJS be important components to allowing the aggression of Will and Kisno. I'd be really curious to see what kind of priority they get in the first phase as well.
Yeah, I mean, we saw RJS, I think it was last week, he played the Victor, which we don't see a lot of. I mean, overall, I'm not the biggest fan of the champion, but he plays it. He had a good performance for the most part, so that's an option that he could definitely be willing to go for here. And now the pick and ban has actually gone underway. The Akali, wow, we're just first rotation, knocking that out of the picture there for LiT. I mean, that one is interesting to me. It just kind of tells me Messages isn't willing to play Orianna, and that Kisno doesn't really want to play the Poppy. I feel like there are a lot of ways to punish that pick if it's picked early. But
I would actually really like to see the Poppy, but again, I think there's just a lot of options on the table. The Draven, respect fan yet again, going over to Prismal and Dardoch. I can appreciate that one. There's been something going on in scrims, or a little bit of information being given over to LiT. For sure, but I do imagine more of these bot lane bans to continue to come through. I wonder if there's a world where Senna gets banned here just to not allow LiT to pick that up, even though they can't take the Tahm Kench. I'm curious to see if that does end up being the case.
Yeah, I'm curious as well, and it's looking like, okay, it is the Orianna ban, which is interesting. I think a Kali ban kind of tells me that you're not interested in the pick, but either way, now what the first pick is going to be, I'm wondering if it's Marksman, because a couple of 80 carries are out of the picture now. I mean, there's still Kalista, who is generally considered S tier in a lot of tier 1 gameplay. Aphelios is up, who is pretty good as well, but it's the Seraphine who snuck through in the last game of the series that they're just going to go ahead and take.
I like it. It's been panned away so many times, but we finally get to see it unlocked. We'll see if that is going to be some of that stability for LiT that we were kind of hoping for coming into this one. Another power pick that has been left open is the Kalista. I expect this to be the grab for Mirage Alliance.
So that's going to be interesting. I think the Senna Seraphine is a very clear option here for LiT. If you go Kalista Renata, you still have the opportunity to run over the bot lane, but it's really hard. And if you don't get a significant lead, you get Giga outscaled. So I don't think the Renata gets picked here. I got to imagine a jungler is going to be picked up for Will. And he still has the Xin Zhao available. Again, early game power in the bot lane. You definitely need some in the jungle to help leverage this. Oh, Rel's good too.
And that does it. A little flexibility there too, though.
Yeah.
Give it that. The Kindred instant lock in there as we finally get it through. I like it. It wasn't banned this time. It does just provide a lot of that marksman power from the jungle. It does also, though, force you into a hand of playing for those marks, and that's absolutely something that Will, on the Rel, if he's going to be piloting it this time around, can take advantage of. I still do really like playing around that flexibility in the draft here, though. The Udi are locked in for Dragoon.
Yeah, it's a safe blind. I'm interested in whether or not they are going to ban some of the responses, but we'll see how that one plays out after. I'm expecting... I think you just pick Renata here. I know you give up the Rel flex, but if you're picking this Kalista, you technically have Nautilus available for yourself. I think Kalista Renata is just like such a powerful 2v2. But okay, instead, I mean, right idea, wrong pick, I guess, because they ruined the Rel flex, but it's actually Rel support.
It's going to be big, and that's that flexibility that always comes into play. And I'll just say right now, in the LPL, Rel support has a 0% win rate.
How many games?
Jungle, 6, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Jungle had like 14 games or something, and it's at like a 73% win rate last time. So, hey, I like it. I like it in support, but we'll have to see if Dardoch can really pilot that one here. And I think in the second phase, we already see some of those combos being banned away to maybe deny a lot of that Rel engage. The Alistair already taken off the board for Mirage Alliance. For LiT on the other side, it's the Corki.
Yeah, so you just want to remove some scaling tools for RJS in the mid lane. I'm curious if they'll actually target something like the Victor. I'm trying to think of what other scaling picks kind of exist there. I don't think we see Hui come through for RJS. I think that champ would be in a pretty dangerous position in that game.
Yeah.
I like the Nico
ban.
takeaway. I think that one's pretty good because, one, I think now of the mids left, it's pretty strong. You have good team fight. So now messages, he's going to have to dig a little deep.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of the Fearless Draft. And I think trying to prep things that are going to come clutch in a 3-game series is oh so important. A little bit of focus probably towards this mid lane, a little bit more so as well. I think it would be huge as it is the Syndra ban right as rain. And we'll save that counter pick here for Mirage Alliance on the red side after this pick.
Yeah, and it's just about who is going to be getting it. Hey, are you going to just give it to RJS in the mid lane, or are you going to give it to Alorum? The moment until that light's locked in, we won't actually have our answer. I mean, overall, Cho'Gath would be pretty interesting. I mean, it's good into tanks, so I like that response into the Udyr, and it ends up being, I mean, it's very much like Alorum. Has his own champion pool, has his own meta, and he plays all of those champions very, very well. So now it just leaves RJS with that last R5 pick.
I am so here for it. Alorum, somebody we've known for a long time, throwback to the toilet paper cats. And I particularly love seeing this guy in the scene because he's so vocal, but he's also just brass tacks, man. He'll tell you how it is, he'll play it how it is. And right now he's got that Cho'Gath looking lined up against this Udyr. See if he can come up big, because he's always one to come with those little counter picks in the top lane, the little things that maybe nobody else thinks about that he feels are really good. It is the Tristana, though, locked in so far for LiT.
Yeah, and the Braum hover would be really interesting there. I think that one would end up being pretty solid, because Braum, you're really good into champs who are trying to all-in you. You can eat up a lot of the damage that is coming your way. And I think that's going to be really important. One, to neutralize the spot lane because you're trying to take it slow. You're trying to scale with the Seraphine. And if they are jumping into you, which, I mean, look at that composition. They definitely want to, Lennon. You have that Glacial Fissure to make space for yourselves. And that ends up being a pretty nice pick. You don't see it a lot there, but Plux is going to pull out a pretty solid counter.
The amount of engage potential that Mirage Alliance has, though, is terrifying. Yes, you can say the same about the sustained on the side of LiT, but I just see a lot of pick potential being available to Mirage Alliance, whereas I feel like we've seen in this series so far, been heavy reliance on, yes, some picks, especially last game, but more so relying on what we get objective stacking wise and how quickly those go down.
Right, and I was actually against my expectations. I was kind of wondering if Seraphine was going to go bot, Tristana mid, but I think whether it was planned or a last-second switch, it's not so great into the Taliyah, and you do have that ability to escape with the rocket jump, so I kind of like having it in the bot lane with that Braum overall. So, I mean, mid to late game with double marksman, Lennon, I like LiT's chances. They're looking pretty good.
Not too bad. Well, we're headed off to the Rip for the final game of the day. Go ahead and wake up, slap your face a little bit, get a little bit of hydration in ya, because it is LiT Esports versus Mirage Alliance Game 3.
And my eyes, as they have been for a lot of these series for the last couple of weeks, are on the bot lane. You have Kalista with this Rel, not a combination you've seen very often so far, but it's about lane pressure. It's about lane dominance. You get a good all-in, you start snowballing this lane. I mean, that's just been the story of Kalista for as long as I've played this game. And
run away, little Cho'Gath.
That is how Mirage Alliance are going to find these early leads. Stack Drakes and a play for your soul win condition. Because I think LiT, double marksman, Seraphine, that just screams outscaled.
I think there's absolutely a timer going on here, and it's something Mirage Alliance need to stay active. But luckily, they have Will, somebody who is always proactive. Our summer child, we always call him, as he's only played in summer so far before this year. We're finally getting games of him in spring, and we've seen some of the shades of Will that we really liked when first he was coming up on 100 Thieves Next, and then more recently on the likes of, trying to make it happen last year in the NACL.
It's exciting. You said it yourself too, Lennon, how big a deal it is for Will, having talked to him, to play his first spring split. Like, again, the jokes about Summer Child were always prevalent for us. Even before I was on this broadcast, funny enough, when he had first started for 100 Thieves. So it is exciting to see him be able to play, especially on a team like Mirage Alliance, who have so many experienced members, and you just can always benefit as a younger player to play with such veteran talent on the side of Mirage. You just go down the board. These are people who have been around the League of Legends team for a very long time.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like the Avengers coming back to it here from Mirage Alliance to make something happen. But
like
we highlighted earlier, but I feel like it's something you always have to talk about for Mirage Alliance. They qualified this offseason, but their roster looks a lot different than maybe what they were going into the year with.
It's interesting, too, with this matchup. I mean, both these teams are newest teams who had promoted in the summer promotion tournament last year. And yeah, it's true, Mirage got some changes, but LiT, they stayed entirely the same. This is the squad that won their respective matches. This is the one that earned. They were actually the first team to promote as well. Everybody thought Mirage Alliance were going to be the ones to make it happen, but I'm actually pretty sure it was LiT who sent them into that lower bracket and then ended up being the first to qualify.
Pretty cool story there. Go rewatch the qualifiers. Great things happening there, and it hasn't been often that the promoted squad gets to keep all their members, so it's kind of cool to see here especially. But the continued growth is going to be the name of the game here for NACL. Meanwhile, we get both junglers pathing down towards this bot side of the map. Is Kisno going to have to pay respect? And he does. The mark does go to the other side of the map.
Yeah, but of course, and Brom just being so strong. Sorry, I was holding my breath there just to see what would end up happening.
That's going to be a double scuttle.
That's actually...
Will is playing really hesitantly right now. He's literally stopped his back like 3 or 4 times down there. Now ends up looking for a play on bot side, while Kisno will get that trade in his first mark.
Yeah, he knows that he has no way to make it to that top crab before Kisno does. Will just has to force this.
Fifth back gets canceled. Is Rockboo going to rocket jump, but maybe Prismo and Dardoch can set it up here. That shield is going to be enough, and Plux helps survive Rockboom out of this one. Will, he's trying to force it. He knows he needs to get something here. He's going to flash. He's going to dash.
Oh, nice.
He's going to get that wind becoming lightning, and first blood goes to Mirage Alliance.
Yeah, I mean, the success of that play was so important. You see Dardoch flashing, igniting in there. You're falling behind because you end up getting double crap by this Kindred, who really starts to ramp up in clear speed and, of course, damage as you get into the later parts of this game. So being able to have this influence bot lane, allowing Prismo to get a lead, was really crucial there, and I really appreciate that he just full committed to that. Full scented, flash, under turret, and everything.
Plux just stopped 2 backs there. Dardoch and Prismo. Oh, the back is going to be so late. Look at that. I mean, that feels really bad. Dardoch's on his way out here to try to help this, though. Will is taking a very rough fight because Dragoon and messages have come to help Kisno, and that will be another mark to the Kindred.
Wow, and it's just so nice for Kisno. I mean, this is a champ he's so comfortable on. It's banned from him consistently since the split started, and it's for good reason. I mean, he has the perfect comp for it as well. You have this push mid. He queued forward in that fight against Will. That was how confident he was in his success, and it ended up coming true. He's going to be able to easily get these grubs. He can reset, spend his gold, and even try to actually threaten that dragon on the bottom side if he wants to.
Yeah, that's a really good start for any Kindred, and particularly for Kisno. Yeah, those grubs give so much XP. We do see, though, the typical Udyr lane state up here. The push is a nigh. Lorem was going to back there, but doesn't have TP, so it would be a really rough push to lead.
Yeah, nice thing for Will. He's able to at least get Kisno's respawn Raptors, allows him to catch up a little bit in XP, but he's still behind a level. Constellation prize, Mirage Alliance will be able to get this first strike. We already stressed it. LiT, mid-late game, excellent. Mwah, chef's kiss, which means Mirage Alliance, desperately, Dragon Soul, stacking for it.
Get as many advantages as you possibly can to stop the oncoming onslaught that is LiT Esports. And denying marks, denying things like that, buying time is the name of the game in terms of trying to stop them from having a lead this early on, even though you've already given up some of those mistakes. I do love to see that Dragoon. Yeah, that's a little unfortunate there.
God.
That feels really bad. The Pingu dab, because Messages knows what he's just done to the mental of Will.
God, that is just earth-shattering for the mental there. Will is already behind. Like, any little bit would help him, especially because Kizno getting to that level 6 first. He's just dealing gaps over and over again. And at this rate, Kizno's just going to get so far ahead of him that, I mean, one, again, he reaches level 6 first, which means they can look for an aggressive play, kind of like this.
Lorem got caught on the way to the wave, and he just got back, and he's already a quarter of his health gone.
That's messed up.
There's the level 6. Oh, this could just be a dive.
You know what?
This absolutely could be a dive.
No, I think you just want to take your camps and leave. I actually want to take a second. Just look at the XP right now. Yeah, solo laners, all that is well and good, but Kizno is just... Will is literally at the bottom with level and XP. He's a jungler, by the way. And that's just a perfect representation of how tough early game's been for him. Just because of the invades, plays not going his way, things like that.
Things start snowballing, and they keep snowballing. As it definitely feels that way here. Not a big lead, but it's definitely something that's being felt around the map. Also, actually see a perfectly placed mark there. I do wonder, did Kizno get a 4th mark? If our observers could go ahead and highlight that for me in a second. We do have this 2v2 unfolding in bottom side with a little bit of invade going to Will.
Yeah, I'd also like to know, too, Will being able to cross-map a little bit and get this camps has got to feel good. So he's not too far behind anymore. I don't know.
Because there was a mark on chickens, and it disappeared because the chickens are no longer there, and Will was on the bottom side of the map. I want to say 4th mark had already gotten completed there, and that would be an insane, super early first 4 marks at least.
Oh yeah, 9 minutes. As a Kindred player, it's got to feel really good. That's shown up on the buff, so you might actually be right. We'll hover him at some point and find out.
There
you
it is.
go. Oh, you called it. 4th mark.
Oh my god, that's insane. That's like an 8.5-minute 4th mark for Kizno.
Yeah. It's already been very clear that he is far ahead, and you can see it now that he's full cleared. He's 20 CS ahead of Will, and basically just a full level up the whole time. So Will's, now that he's level 6, you just commit yourself to making plays. Mid, bot, whatever you can manage for yourself.
Mirage Alliance trying to find something to hold on to here in the mid lane. Look to try to catch out Messages. Be able to play pretty safely up to his top side of the map, though, since he does have a waiting Kizno up that way. The Grubbies episode 2 is live. See if those do end up being at least assault from Mirage Alliance, because it feels like they have to at this point.
Right, and because Kizno got the first 3, it would be nice to be able to at least deny at 5th or 6th grub taken, because I think they're already getting another mark.
I can't see under his portrait because it was on the Gromp bots. Yeah, he just got a 5th mark. My God.
Wow. Okay.
The RNG is in Kizno's favor. Rock Boom trying to make it happen on RJS. Won't do it. Does have to get out of there a little bit quickly under tower. I'll play very aggressively.
Yeah, he's kind of goated for that. But
Lorem. That's a quick little Udyr. That's slow, though. The post slow is huge. Here comes the AP. Damn it, the tower shot. Woo! Dragoon. Kizno right here. Does he have the mark available to him as well? He doesn't. It's on Will, but it will just be a kill on a big scary beast. One more auto. Kizno! He's going to have the ulti. What?
Whoa, you know what? He executed.
He got the execute.
No. He's real for that.
Easy.
He's real for that. No, because he's going to be there on time for the Drake if they want to fight this.
Calculated.
And then he'll have the ulti ready to go. No. Well played.
Yeah, it really is, because that cooldown's really long,
yeah,
especially,
it is.
and you don't want to be using that if you don't have to. Really good heads-up play from Kizno to know he didn't get touched by Lorem. I know Lorem's going to be kicking himself for that one for sure. Dragon coming up soon, though. We got to see the setup for Mirage Alliance. They want to keep stacking and keep buying themselves a little bit of time.
So the one thing going for Mirage Alliance, you see they have TPs coming mid, and they have that first move because Kizno is just coming from being deceased. But
from being deceased.
Yeah.
Oh, big Magnus Storm out 3 members. That is huge. As Mirage Alliance are now in some trouble because Dragoon has showed up. That Lamb's Respite going to be big. Kisno gets shut down, though, and that shutdown goes straight to Prismal. Prismal is doing some work, but here comes Rockboom looking to get his own resets here as the rocket jump's got to be coming up. It's Messages that takes down Prismal in the end. It ends up being a huge trade between both sides.
Yeah, but it ends up being in LiT's favor. Rockboom coming in at the last moment to help get some damage down. He is going to be able to get some hits on the turret, but what looked like a pretty solid fight for Mirage just ended up being basically even, which honestly isn't good enough at this stage of the game. And we'll see it again. Flux, I mean, honestly, he got caught out a little bit. He was there ahead of his jungler. He was there ahead of his team. He didn't have mid-prio, and it ends up setting the perfect opportunity for this Rel engage here. But I think what saved it in part is the fact that the Lamb's Respite was held by Kisno, and a lot of damage came down, buying time for Rockboom to kind of help even out this fight a little bit.
Yeah, I think Messages also had some really clutch ability use in there. Obviously gets the flash kill in the end, but without some of that sustain, that fight goes a lot more quickly. Yeah. And I think LiT are taking full advantage of that. And this is only the start beatdown.
Right, I remember this is a comp where you really come online at that 20-minute mark, and at that point, if you're Mirage, you want to be really far ahead, but instead they find themselves behind. And a lot of this gold is on this top side, and that is perfectly fine, because...
Dragoon wants it, man. He wants it so bad. He's looking to kill Alorum, and even in a 1v2, Dragoon stands tall.
What is this chant, man? What
Fear
am
the
I
deer,
looking
baby.
at?
Fear the deer.
Okay, you know what? To be fair, Dragoon built Leandri's. If that was Tank Udyr, I would have been really upset.
Not the Bwipo tech.
Yeah. But this time he makes it fair. Plux.
Oh, yep. There, I thought they were going back in. Glacial Prison there. That Glacial Fisher missing feels really, really bad. Don't worry about it, Plux. You'll get him next time. We do get that level 11, though, completed for RJS. We are getting very close to those first items coming out as well.
Yep.
Rift Herald up on the other side of the map, where presence is already gained by Mirage Alliance.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of that reprieve, because even though you lost Alorum, you got Dragoon in the process, so you can see RJS. He's got this wave in. He's hitting the turret, and most of the members of Mirage Alliance are going to be here, and they're just going to have Alorum on the bottom side of the map. The thing is, if you're LiT, you have Kisno's ult coming back soon. You don't have to actually fight this. You don't really care, because this Herald isn't going to be that big difference maker. Mirage would have to get some serious value to make it
What is up
it.
with not getting the eyes in this game? Oh, Will!
Okay, he got it. He got it.
Good job, Will, the GOAT.
That's tough. You know, part of what I was thinking was they get this Herald for free, but at least they got it. So now, with this top tier 1 going down, this bottom tier 1 on your screen going down as well, there's that opportunity for Mirage to at least break open the map for themselves a little bit more once they get the mid tier 1 out of it.
I believe Kisno looking at another mark over here. They're going to bring up bodies, but I don't know if he was able to grab that one. No, he did, actually. Okay. So he's got a good stack. I wonder if he's got that 7 yet already. Yep, he does. So second activation of the Kindred marks are going to be online. A lot more range, a lot more damage. We'll see now what he can do when he gets back, because I'm sure that's a second item waiting in tow.
He's going to be doing a lot.
Oh, it's close.
Oh, wow, yeah. And he's going Collector, it looks like, too. So, and if your name is not Alorum, you're very afraid of Kisno right now. And even maybe Alorum, because of how far ahead Kisno is, you're just afraid of him. And really, Mirage Alliance's only chance on a lot of these team fights is either finding a pick early, you get a big Magnet Storm like Dardoch did. The question is just going to be, can you get them after the Lamb's Respite goes through? Because that had a big impact in that last fight, even with Rockboom being so late. This time around now, we're reaching crucial item spikes for the side of LiT. And you're just going to have a straight-up 5v5 more than likely. It's harder for you to be able to actually get through that ultimate. You kind of have to bait it out. Try and see if you can use only some of your ultimate, some of your cooldowns to force that ult from Kisno.
And I will say, with the way that both these compositions are set up, these lull periods are going to be enough to put people to sleep here unless we get some action on a Plux who overextended. He does get bursted down. The Lamb's Respite comes out. Glacier Fissure buying a lot of time. Allure, I'm looking for the chop down. Dardoch going for the crash down. Can't find it. Look at that sustained. Mirage Alliance doesn't have a hope in the world as Dragoon comes landing on the backline. Kisno making the difference. And it's Rock Boom trying to find that dash. He can't do it, but my God, the team fight's looking good from LiT.
Wow, and that's so tragic. Lennon, that was literally bar for bar what I was hoping for Mirage, if they were going to be able to actually find a fight that works for them. But they couldn't make it happen. LiT have too much damage on their side, and now mid-tier 1 is going to go down. Bottom tier 2 is going to go down, and this gold lead has shot up to almost 5,000. LiT are firmly in the driver's seat, and they're taking Mirage to task.
They really are. It's been just good macro play so far, at least, from LiT. Conversation becomes, can that continue to go and close out? Because we will have to, okay, so the Dragon timer was like way off. I was going to say, like, I was wondering how
that
we
happened
were so
earlier
far
too,
out
right?
from the Dragon. Yeah, but it was only like 30 seconds or something before. That was like 2 full minutes. I was wondering why it was down for so long, but we do now see both teams positioning around this to try to fight over the Dragon.
Yeah, and this is a big take for Mirage, but can you actually get it done? Uh-oh.
Seismic Shove does come through. Kisno with the dash gets the killing spree. Dragoon. That's going to be a little bit wide on the engage from LiT, but they have so much speed, and speed is the deal as Kisno going for it. Rock Boom's getting the resets now. No more rocket jump, but they are running. It feels like a marathon that Mirage Alliance just can't get away from.
Wow. And LiT, they just win yet another fight. And it should be a really easy pickup for the Dragon for them. And it just really shows you how much more difficult this game has become for Mirage Alliance. You have very few options to actually team fight. You are just out-damaged in every way. And Dragoon, no one can even deal with him. He's 2 items now. He went that second item, Frozen Heart, which I really like. You just make Prismal main DPS for Mirage. His life a living hell.
One of the best skins in the game, the DRX skin from Kyoshik. Weaver's Wall actually kind of lost. God, that thing is so cute. Dragoon, though, is in some trouble. Okay. Well, he's just going to run away from RJS. RJS did get a little bit of speed up from the phase rush, but that's it. Now Will, he gets his driver's cap on, and he's going.
What? All right. So it should be...
He did it.
Right? It should be a turret? Okay, it's going to end up being a turret. Which is something. It's definitely got to feel good. For Mirage, it is an objective bounty, though. Which is basically exactly all you need to know about how difficult this game has been.
Dardoch, he's over the wall here. Plux is getting low, but it doesn't matter. It's just getting Mirage Alliance completely taken out here. Dragoon is just tanking up a storm. Meanwhile, Lorem's doing a lot of the same here too on the side, but doesn't matter because Kisno steps forward and everyone from Mirage Alliance is going to be cut off at the head. Will the only one remaining? Is there a steal in it? I don't think so. Bear it over to LiT.
And Mirage, they just don't have the firepower to manage any team fight against LiT at this point, and now they have vision on Will. It's going to be so easy to stop him. He's just got to get out of here. And LiT Esports.
Will! Oh, he was so close to getting it down. He tried it, and I appreciate that, but LiT are running away with it. The Rally Cry Baron buff also completed.
This one is tough. This gold lead has become insurmountable. 10K in favor of LiT. You have this double marksman comp with Seraphine. This is just about to be all she wrote, guys. Like, honestly, this is so hard for Mirage to come back in. And at this point, LiT, you gotta overstep. You gotta make a mistake. You gotta have a silly.
Silly.
I don't know what else to call it without saying words I can't say on broadcast, but...
I see.
Yeah, there you go.
Lorem, though, he might be a Godzilla, but we've all seen the movie, and unfortunately he gets taken out. Kisno's godlike now, and There ain't much left but an embrace of death here from Mirage Alliance unless they can catch Dragoon out, which they do. Some serious healing and shielding coming out, and Messages tanks all the shots for him, and that's a good teammate right there. Speaking of good teammates, Mirage Alliance capitalize on Rock Boom in a weird position there.
And that's an oopsie. That's what we're looking for here, Lennon. I just need to see like 7 more of those.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. 8 total, I think, would do it, but for the most part, it's still LiT very much in the driver's seat. I mean, you just don't have the damage as Mirage to get through some of these tanks. And I mean, we got to give props to LiT for having a really good series, especially after getting rolled over by Supernova. Who, I mean, granted, again, really solid team in this lead right now. Definitely middle of the pack, if not higher. But LiT, they just look completely lost. They fell apart.
Yeah.
Drafts weren't that great. The gameplay was very passive. And it just seems like night and day, and something you really love to see, because we said it all of last year, Lennon, this is a developmental league. And we love to watch these teams and players grow and improve. And I mean, as a color caster, I love that. I eat that up.
And speaking of, to continue that narrative, both these two teams are looking for their first win of the split as a series whole. And RJS, he's not going to be around to have that conversation or even be part of it, as LiT are pushing down the pace now after that pick.
I mean, this could just be where things get closed out right now. You have a pretty solid wave. Kizno still has the ult, even though he's low health, and his passive can help heal him up even a little bit too if it comes down to it. So, last chance for Mirage. You got a final stand to make.
Rock Boom's pushing mid lane, so they won't have their 5th member here, and Prismal's actually doing some serious work. Rock Boom will end up collapsing over now, and Dragoon stepping forward. Prismal's in some trouble. Prismal gets one shot by Kizno, who goes legendary, and Zeus preps his thunderbolt from the heavens and launches it into the Mirage as it explodes in a third fury of thunder. LiT Esports will be looking at their first series win of spring 2024 in ACL, and what a way to do it. Over 14,000 gold in the lead, and as Zeus looks happily down upon his 5 champions, they will rejoice in a 2-1 victory over Mirage Alliance.
Both are newly promoted teams, Lennon, but it seems like today, LiT Esports are a step ahead. A wonderful game coming out from this squad, a team who we were talking about had a lot of potential to begin with, looking at these individual pieces. And it's great to see that they are really starting to come together.
It's actually incredible to see, and what a way to end out the day. I'm just glad we got a 3-game series to end it off. And it wasn't a close 3rd game, but it was very, very entertaining at least. Yeah. What a series from LiT. They take their first series win. After this, we'll have a short interview to round out the day. We'll see you there.
Introducing the new Footlong Sidekicks at Subway. Try the warm and delicious Footlong cookie, Footlong pretzel, or Footlong churro.
Welcome back to the Rally Cry post-game interview. We are here with none other than Rock Boom from LiT Esports. I'm the biggest fan now after that first game, but what a come-away win for you guys. It's been tough. It's been rough. You guys come away with your first series win of the split. I just got to ask, is there redemption? Is there reprieve now for you? Does it feel good?
Yeah, it feels good, especially after last week. Feels nice to just finally win and start some momentum for our team. So I'm excited to see how things go forward now that we have momentum.
The first thing I want to ask you about, I told you we were going to go down this route, was that Jin game. Mazel said people doubted. I was one of the doubters. But you were actually like super 1v9. Talk to me about the game. At what point were you thinking like, dude, I'm going to lock this down. Like, I got this.
Well, I got like fed throughout the early game, and then it was like mid game. I was like 6-0, and we were like a little like anxious. I was like, guys, do not worry, we are winning this game. And then we just had a bad fight, and they tried to end. Somehow killed their whole team with my ults. Went down mid and just killed their whole team again. So I don't know. I got the DLG striker blood in me. So I just Jin's in the blood.
I gotta ask, because I'm a Jin player myself, nowhere near as good as you, obviously, but how do you get people not to focus you in a team fight? Because you literally went that entire last fight full health, just fork-shotting everybody you saw, and then at the end, yes, it came down to you dying to the GA, but I gotta know your secrets, man.
It's because I got Ghost. I just dodge everything and then run them down when they use everything on my teammates. Simple as that.
Easy does it.
Sounds like you're just better, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
So now, the last question for me. I want to just ask how, last week you said it was nice to get a dub. It was a tough loss against Supernova. Well, was it nerves that you were dealing with early on? Were you guys figuring out your identity this patch? Like, what was going on that week that wasn't going on today?
Well, I think we were a little nervous. Like, we are a bunch of rookies, right? And going into our first game, it was kind of stressful, right? But I think we learned a lot from that, and kind of fix up a lot of our mistakes that we realized, like preparing and just scrimming and everything. So yeah, it was just we weren't really as prepared as we thought for Supernova, I think. And then yeah, we just became more prepared, felt a little more confident today. The results showed.
So I guess going into that a little bit more, a question I was asking Keel earlier for Team Liquid Challengers, how has the Fearless drafting system really adapted your guys' prep coming into games and your week leading up to the games itself? Because in a game 3, I feel like that's where it really comes to matter in terms of what you've picked already. So what was your a thought process in the Fearless system?
Well, we have draft plans and everything, and getting ready for Fearless, we have to plan that all out, right? But mainly it's just talking between games and trying to come up with the comps that we want to play after champs were banned, right? Like Kindred was open, there wasn't all the counters to Kindred were banned pretty much from Fearless, so just like, okay, we'll pick that, right? And then even just having like the flex possibilities, because a lot of the ADCs that beat champions we could just pick.
It was impressive nonetheless. I do want to give you a chance to give some shout outs. Anybody you want to talk about before we let you go, bud?
Shout out to my family. They're always supporting. I know my 2 older brothers are watching this right now. I love you guys. And yeah, mom and dad. And shout out to all my friends. I know a bunch of them are watching too. Shout out to the team, of course. It's tough week last week, but we fought through it and got the W, which is nice. And free scooped.
Oh no!
Real and true.
Real recognized real. Well, I'll be watching your Jin gameplay in the future. Thank you so much, Rock Boom. I appreciate you. I'm sure we'll get to talk to you some more.
Thank you. Have a good one, everyone.
Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and steal it away. We're gonna be wrapping up the day here. Yeah, hey, he's skyrocketed through my list right now. But I particularly want to take a look at the standings now that we've seen yet another day. We kicked off week number 3 here in the NACL. Yes, there's still a lot of the same things we saw at the beginning of the day, but we got some dubs on the board. LiT and TLC come away with their first season dubs.
Yeah, TLC started the day at 10th. And LiT started, I want to say it was 8th or 7th, and now they've both shot up a couple of places because of those hard-earned victories they got today, and it's really good because these were 2 teams we saw struggling. Beginning of the split, again, the improvement, the growth. as we have already seen in these first couple of weeks feels so good to see as a viewer, caster, all of it.
Yeah, it's been really cool. I think we've had a lot of conversations about Fearless and the way that it's gone, but I think it's been really cool, especially when we get these 3-game series, to see how much it affects, right? Just like Rockboon was saying, right? All the bans for Kindred are gone. All of the counters are gone. It literally unlocks these picks that were not available to you before. And we got to see a treat from Kisno on that one. I still am surprised he got 4 marks at 8.5 minutes. But my God, it was a blast to watch. Thank you all for tuning in. Beatdown, it was an absolute pleasure to be reunited once again. I got to give a huge shout out to Rally Cry and Load Screen as our producers for this. Thank you for making us look good. And we're going to be rating Big Dokes. So go ahead and give some Big Dokes in the chat. We'll see you over there. We'll see you tomorrow for more NACL.